Erik Lankin is only 26 years old.
I'm about to have a serious mixed stomach ache after this.
Yet he sounds more like a veteran professional athlete nearing the conclusion of his career than the beginning.
I'm eating the entire menu wherever my Tesla takes me for the next 7 days, and today is day number 1.
When your profession needs you to consume thousands of calories in a single sitting, it's safe to assume you're not in it for the long run. This seemingly strange individual has got over 4 million subscribers because of his food challenge videos.
Rule number 1, I have to finish the entire menu at least 7 restaurants this week.
Now, some of his most popular videos feature calorie challenges in which he consumes anywhere from 15,000 to 100,000 calories per day in a mukbang style. It's pretty intense stuff. However, Erik has been open about his prior anorexia and now credits food challenges and competitive eating with helping him overcome his fear of food.
Rule number 2, I have to finish a minimum of 1 menu per day.
And that seems similar to some of the other people we've reviewed on the channel, like Mr. Nicocado Avocado. Alright, so for Lankin, food has become a source of power. He first started eating challenges as he was recovering from anorexia, which he developed from struggling with his weight and body image as a teenager. He found that allowing himself to accomplish food-related goals was a kind of freedom.
Rule number 3 is where it's gonna get interesting. Because the day I start each challenge is the day I have to finish each challenge.
And an excellent way for him to stay on the road to mental and physical health. On YouTube, he knows folks tune in to see him accomplish seemingly superhuman culinary feats, but he also hopes they watch for his positivity, for his spreading of awareness about how eating disorders can affect people's lives, and for a glimpse of someone who proves that recovery and building a wholesome relationship with food is possible. Alright, so he starts his day with a black coffee and some pre-workout supplements. It doesn't offer much beyond coffee, water, and B vitamins. And while the caffeine in the coffee and pre-workout may provide him with an energy boost to help him get through the 50-mile bike ride, I would still want to have more caloric fuel in the tank to support his endurance demands.
I took it upon myself to attempt to eat and burn 10,000 calories in 24 hours. Not only was it one of the hardest challenges of my life, but it was also one of the longest challenges of my life because it took me almost 18 full hours to burn 10,000 calories.
So faster cardio for recreational fitness enthusiasts is one thing, but he's spending all night without nourishment and then riding for 2.5 hours. So he's almost certainly burning through glycogen stores and possibly eating into metabolic muscle.
It's time. Calories burned.
One recent assessment of the research indicated that endurance athletes avoid high-intensity activity when fasting since it increases the risk of low blood sugar, dehydration, dizziness, and, in the worst-case scenario, passing out. So I would absolutely advocate a pre-workout meal that includes protein and a good amount of fast-acting carbohydrates. Something like a fruit-based smoothie with a small amount of yogurt would be easily digestible. Okay, most people don't need a sports drink after working out, but in this case, I believe it's necessary to assist rehydrate and restore those electrolytes. H2O is crucial, but so is replenishing energy stores and protein to help with post-workout recovery. Ideally, following 2 intense back-to-back workouts like this, especially because they were done fasted, we'd want a robust dinner with a protein-to-carb ratio of 1 gram to around 4 grams. As the name implies, Powerade Zero contains no protein, carbohydrates, or calories. So if Erik's goal is to preserve his metabolic muscle, this is not an optimal plan.
Well, everyone, I've made it to the entrees. I gotta figure out how I'm gonna do this.
Baba Kebab's entrees were gonna be even harder to finish for one very important reason. Each entree was served with a massive pile of rice.
That one's down.
Which was incredibly filling.
Okay, then at around 7 p.m., and there is again pretty heavy food. I suppose it's better late than never, but the steak and whatever fish is likely in the sushi will provide him with much-needed protein. You see there is some carbs in the sushi rice and sweet potato, and maybe some fat in the salad dressing. Recent research has revealed that the anabolic protein window for muscle protein synthesis is substantially wider than previously assumed, spanning approximately 4 hours around the training session. Now, because Erik did a fasted workout, so nothing since the night before, we have a much shorter window to deal with here, so we'd like to see that meal within the first hour following training, rather than 6 hours later. It's also preferable to consume multiple protein doses throughout the day rather than all at once at the end of the day, because for athletes like Erik, the body can only use up to 0.25 to 0.4 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight for muscle protein synthesis every 3 to 4 hours. Depending on the calculation we use and the study you want to cite, we're looking at 1.2 to 2 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight, or 20 to 30 grams of protein every sitting in 4 to 6 doses per day.
And it was pretty interesting to see my weight trends the 7 days after the challenge was over. This is a graph showing what my body weight looked like the 7 days following the 50,000 calorie challenge.
I know, it's getting technical. In simpler terms, if Erik really wanted to do fasted cardio for whatever reason, along with maybe a couple pieces of fruit or toast, because this bar is just a 1-to-1 carb to protein ratio, then I'd want to have the steak meal a few hours later. So in another of Erik's videos, he talks about his supplement regimen, which includes a pretty diverse mix of supplements such as iron and collagen.
So I'm actually really glad I decided to do that. Now, if you guys remember, the whole goal was to consume 50,000 calories within 24 hours. And a big part of that was the calories themselves that I consumed.
To help support his muscles and athletic performance, selenium for his thyroid, CoQ10 for energy, and vitamin D for immunity. Those are his words, not mine. Erik now admits that he frequently cheats on his high-calorie food challenges by taking a probiotic to assist combat the nasty bacteria found in the foods he eats in all of his videos, as well as a fish oil supplement to offset the inflammation and brain fog caused by those foods. Finally, Erik takes a berberine supplement to assist manage the so-called blood sugar surges that occur after a meal. I just wanted to ask, what is a legitimate evidence-based hack for addressing all of these unpleasant health outcomes?
Oh, that's weird.
With the help of some maple syrup, I was able to work my way through this very bland-tasting potato pancake. And a few minutes later, this first cheat meal was complete.
Not attempting these problems in the first place. Like, I don't understand it. I'm all for supplements, especially for specific health concerns, if they improve your quality of life and give you more dietary freedom. But with all of those nasty, uncomfortable side effects, I'm not sure how these challenges would improve quality of life.
I was trying things I'd never had before.
Tastes way better than a burger patty.
While the first 2 entrees went down quicker than I expected, by the time I got to entree number 3, the rice was making a serious dent in my stomach.
This individual appears to be jumping from one painful extreme to the next. Anyway, let's see how he finishes the night. Okay, so approximately an hour after his protein bar and steak salad, Erik has 2 large bowls of Lucky Charms cereal, as well as a bowl of fruit, rice cakes, and peanut butter. For example, the milk and peanut butter provide protein and fat, while cereal, fruit, and rice cakes provide carbohydrates. But the fact that he's consuming over 1,000 calories of mostly refined carbohydrates in the same hour feels a little odd. It's almost as if his body and mind are pleading to catch up in order to meet their demands, and he has to pull like Cinderella before the clock strikes 12.
I know this is gonna suck. Oh, no way. There is no way I can eat that.
Thankfully, I had a backup plan.
And the constraint begins all over again. Guys, considering Erik's history of eating disorders, this textbook binge-restrict cycle behavior is honestly really problematic. According to our rough calculations, Erik consumed approximately 2,200 calories in a 3-hour period on this particular day. Now, this is significantly more than what we've seen in some of his other films, where he's only consuming about 400 calories of chicken, rice, and lettuce between food challenge days. Whatever the case may be, it is insufficient for his level of activity. On a day like this, he would most likely need between 3,000 and 5,000 calories, consistently, rather than in chaotic cycles of excessive overconsumption and underconsumption. Sure, little caloric changes from day to day are perfectly natural and can be readily managed by the body, but eating 10,000 calories one day and then 400 calories for 3 days will not provide the same results in the body as taking 2,800 calories regularly for 4 days. Our energy levels will suffer, as will our metabolism, muscles, and digestion. To function well, our bodies require appropriate and consistent nutrition. Not once a week, not sometimes, and not 3 hours each day. Every day. 2,800 calories. No amount of caloric restriction, hard exercise, or supplement tricks will effectively reverse the effects of this lifestyle. Erik's protein consumption on this day is approximately 93 grams, which is considered on the low end of what is tolerable for an athlete, depending on whose guidelines are used. Obviously, on non-competitive days, he gets only one supper of chicken and rice per day, which is insufficient. Even if he consumes 90 grams of protein per day on a continuous basis, it is not being efficiently utilized by his highly active and most likely starving muscles, not only because there is a substantial delay between training and protein intake, but also because he is not spreading out his protein intake throughout the day. So, if we spread Erik's protein and calories out throughout the day in more equal proportions, we would undoubtedly witness improved muscle protein synthesis, hunger regulation, digestion, and most likely, sleep. Because it doesn't feel nice to consume 3,000 calories right before bed. It's actually the most horrible idea. Now, overeating to the amount that Erik does in his food challenges can be extremely stressful on the digestive system. Not only may it induce tremendous tummy stretching, as Erik himself frequently demonstrates in his videos, there is quite a food baby.
The food baby was strong, but I had just one last meal to eat. After working my way through the first couple items, I was able to make it to the tacos.
Erik now claims that he has the unusual ability to manage this substance, as his flawless blood work would indicate. However, as resilient as our bodies are to these small times of inconsistency in nourishment, with enough wear and tear, we can begin to notice the long-term effects. So we're talking about impaired metabolic function, which increases the risk of diabetes, heart disease, osteoporosis, GI dysfunction, hormone imbalance, vitamin deficiencies, and other conditions. And these physical health hazards are truly the least of my concerns. Erik's way of living also raises significant psychological difficulties. First, we know that excessive consumption of ultra-processed fast meals has been linked to an increased risk of depression and can harm gut bacteria, as he noted himself. According to new research, a high-fat, nutrient-poor diet can raise emotions of anger and aggression, have an influence on attention, memory, and mood, and impair our ability to emotionally regulate. What we're witnessing here is a pendulum swinging from extreme caloric restriction and compensatory excessive activity to extreme binge eating, all in the name of eliminating fear foods for entertainment purposes. Now, Erik has been quoted as saying that he does not consider what he does to be healthy and that it is most likely categorized as an eating disorder. So here's the question: what is he doing right? How is he remaining lean? And I'll answer you in 3 words: thermodynamic law. Erik does an excellent job of burning off the calories he consumes. If you're familiar with his channel, you'll notice that he has a side channel where he goes about his daily life, which he occasionally shares in his videos. But this person is constantly biking and burning calories. He's even got the complete outfit, a suit, and a competitive bike. And if you know anything about gaining weight, a pound contains 3,500 calories. So, in order to gain 1 pound of fat, you must consume 3,500 calories more than your entire daily energy expenditure. So if I had to guess, my total daily energy expenditure is currently somewhere between 2,800 and 2,900 calories. So, in order to gain 1 pound of fat, I'd have to consume approximately 6,600 calories every day, which is a lot of food. He's devising strategies. He's developed a mental framework for balancing these calories. He is not going to let his source of money and content ruin his health. I believe that is an excellent role model. We are not saying go out and eat all that food, but we are saying that you must have the willpower to do so, balance it, and not succumb to those binges, since it is difficult to not let bad food snowball into different days. The idea that you can go from a day of only broccoli to a day of cheating to a day of barely eating and doing more activity to compensate, that, folks, is a good mindset.